So Mahmood, thank you for speaking to Urban Reseller. Just to give a brief about Mahmood, so Mahmood Khan is the Managing Director and Vice President for Middle East and South Asia at IFS. So we'll be speaking to him about the new IFS Cloud that they launched recently on the market. What kind of challenges companies face in terms of cloud in this market, and how are companies accelerating their digital transformation efforts in the past few months. So Mahmood, thank you again for speaking to Urban Reseller.
Lovely to be here. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for the time.
So we'll start with a brief about the new launch that IFS had, which is IFS Cloud. Can you tell us more about it?
Sure. So as you might know, Chris, IFS is very much focused on deep industry knowledge in our solutions. We are very focused in delivering solutions for our 5 core industries: manufacturing, telco, energy, construction, and services. And IFS Cloud is an evolution of all of the knowledge that we have over many years working with these industries to bring a solution to market that is ready for the new world, fully deployable anywhere, private cloud, public cloud, and by the way, even on-premise. So even though it's called IFS Cloud, it's certainly deployable on-premise. It is a single platform for all of our solutions, something that we're very passionate about. We don't want to create integration in between our individual solutions. So it's essentially a single platform across all our capabilities. We have doubled down on an amazing user experience, because cloud is not just about where you deploy the solution, it's also about how you consume and use the solution. We work really hard to make that an amazing user experience, deployable across any device at any time. And it is something that is, like I said, has a lot of that industry experience built into it. So we're very excited by it. We've had a lot of interest from our existing customers and new prospects. One important point I think about IFS Cloud is that it takes away the cycle of upgrades. It is a true solution that is going to be enhanced across the life cycle. And whether you're running it for the next 10 or 20 years, you never have to upgrade again. Just like any proper cloud solution, it allows you to do that. So many of our customers want to make investments for the long term, and they don't want to go through these big upgrade cycles, and that's something that we focus on as well. So an evolution of our product set under one platform is something that we got a lot of interest in.
Okay. In terms of your focus areas, apart from ERP and EAM, which are the other focus areas for your company for the Middle East and Africa region?
Sure. Actually, our 2 largest areas of interest right now are MRO, specifically in the aerospace and defense industry. We are the market leaders globally, but also in the maritime industry, where you have ship building, rig building, and maintenance. So, whether it's commercial airlines or defense entities, we're seeing a lot of interest there, and we are focused on it. We have a strong focus in the aerospace and defense sector. And our other focus area is around service management, especially where the world is going right now, with markets opening up in the Middle East and across Africa. Competition is becoming a lot more prevalent, and servicing our customers' customers is becoming more and more important, and customers want to have that service management capability. Those are the 2 main areas that we're actually seeing as a real focus for us, and as well what we're seeing from an interest from our customers and potential customers.
Over the past year, we've seen the market change a lot because of the pandemic, and a lot of companies have had a rethink about their strategies as well. What kind of learnings have you had over the past year as far as IFS is concerned?
That is an interesting question. I think IFS has always maintained a DNA of customer success. It's something that we pride ourselves on. And through the pandemic, what we needed to understand is, how do you maintain that customer intimacy and get that customer value quickly without necessarily being able to be in front of the customer. And so we've devised a number of our engagements and tools that we normally would do face-to-face with a customer. We've taken that more digital. So we spent a lot of time and effort. As a quick example, we have a tool around value engineering. And the traditional way of doing that was to sit in a room and have workshops with customers. We've turned that into a digital value engineering tool so that we can digitally collaborate with our customers to define what those value areas would be. So taking things digital was very important. And then also, maintaining engagements with our customers in a digital world wasn't as difficult as we expected, especially in the Middle East. We found that a lot of our customers really took to digital platforms quite quickly. There's this myth that everything in this region is touch and relationship based, but I've been very impressed with companies in the Middle East in terms of how they've moved into working in digital collaborative environments. So besides moving everything digital, we've continued our focus on just maintaining a focus on our customers and their value.
In terms of your market and product strategies, have you made any changes because of the changing environment, where if you look at the business environment here in the Middle East as well?
Not really. Our focus has always been to ensure that our customers have industry-based technology enablement platforms. And that is just becoming more and more important now with the pandemic and the long-term effects of what this is going to do to the changing business requirements. So we feel we're very well suited to meet those requirements. Our focus on service management is something that we've doubled down on. Globally, we've made some investments additionally in service management by acquiring some companies. We've extended our lead on the, for example, the Gartner Magic Quadrant, but that's all really about service management as a key. We know we have to serve our customers better in new and innovative ways, and we know that our customers need to serve their customers as well in new and innovative ways. And that's really our focus. We believe that it's a very unique value proposition, and that's why we're the leader. And it's something that we're really having a lot of conversations with companies on. How can we serve your customers better, and we enable you to?
In terms of your key strategies that you had in 2020, is there anything that you'd like to do differently this year, looking at how the markets are opening up now?
Well, during the course of 2020, we were quite lucky that we continued to invest into the business in the Middle East. Globally, of course, we grew our headcount, but we did so definitely in the Middle East. What we're looking to do now is to further that investment, continue to invest in countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, of course, where our headquarters are. So we'll continue to invest, and we're accelerating that. Other than that, not really. I mean, we're all looking forward to visiting people again. But it's really just about continuing that investment path.
Companies here in the Middle East are accelerating their digital transformation efforts because of the changes on the market. In terms of value proposition, how does IFS fit to the overall proposition?
There's a couple of things. I think firstly, like I said, industry content and industry knowledge. We focus on a few industries, but we know them really well. So if you are a commercial airline, if you are a defense operator, if you are a telco, we know that business really well. And what does that actually mean? That means that you're getting a product, a technology platform that can enable your business quicker. So when you make the decision to go on this digital transformation journey, what you don't want to do is implement over 2 years, or to be quite honest, even a year-long implementation these days to get that business capability is too long. And if you have a product, if you have a platform that has that best practice, and really truly best practice, built from, in collaboration with world leaders in the space, it allows us to give that value to our customers and then to give it to their customers much quicker. And that's a unique value proposition that we have. We will not sell to a customer that's not within our focus industry, because we don't believe we can give them that value proposition. Secondly, our ability to deploy anywhere is very important, because while you're going through this digital transformation journey, we still have to think about data sovereignty. We still have to think about security. We still have to think about the ability to adapt the solution quickly. And many traditional cloud solutions are, you take what you get. You download the app and that is it. what we have done is make sure that our solution is a single code base, whether you deploy it in a public cloud, whether you deploy it in your own data center, whether you deploy it in a private cloud. And that gives customers choice. Many of the industries we focus on, as you can imagine, aerospace and defense, telco, energy, these companies want security. They want to be able to know that their futures is not based on a big data center that exists somewhere and they don't know where that is. And legislation plays a big part of that. So we give you the benefits of an always updated, refreshed system, the benefits of cloud with the security of having it where you want to have it, without the loss of, well, if you do it on premise, you can't upgrade as quickly, you can't get new capabilities quickly. So that again is a very unique value proposition. It allows customers to get to market quicker with new capability at minimal cost, and then have a long-term sustainable solution.
Thank you, Mahmood, for speaking to Aravind Reseller. It was nice having you with us today.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate it.